San Valley sector, one of whom served 18 months in jail for being previously removed from the U.S. Here with more is a member of the House Armed Services and House Oversight and Reform Committees, Texas Congressman Pat Fallon. Congressman, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us, sir. What's your assessment of what's going along the border?
Well, Bob, Katrina, great to be on. Let's be honest. Let's just cut to the chase. This is no longer a crisis. This is an absolute catastrophe. In April of this year, there were 234,000 illegal border crossings, which was the highest we'd ever seen. It was 1,258% worse than the last April President Trump was in office, only to be eclipsed by May, which was 241,000, which was 930% worse than the last May President Trump was in office. So what we've seen, Bob, over the last 5-6 months is about 1.5 million people illegally crossing the border, if you include known gotaways. That's almost 4 million on Joe Biden's watch. And then we've seized 1.2 million pounds of illegal narcotics at the border. Now, some people would say, well, that's good, we're getting more. The cartels are very sophisticated. The more that we seize, the more that is sneaking in. It's a volume situation. And we see that with 107,000 American deaths via opioid overdoses, 80,000 of fentanyl alone last year.
Congressman, what needs to happen to curb the infiltration of these cartels?
First and foremost, let's declare them terrorist organizations and treat them as such, and then institute policies. Because what happened, Katrina, is Joe Biden is the policies he's put in place, or he's basically put his head in the sand and ignored the fact and just keeps claiming that there's a secure border. Well, the cartels love this because not only is it easier for them when the border's wide open to sneak narcotics across the border and smuggle them, but also people. They charge about $4,000 a head per person, and it's not just Mexican. It's Central Americans, Venezuelans, now Cubans, and people from all over the world. So when you do the math, that's about an additional $12 billion a year. Mexico is already a de facto narco state. So when you add and say the cartels can make about 50% more money than they were a few years ago, it's going to only embolden them and make them more powerful. So we need to take them on, and we also need to reinstitute President Trump's border policy.
Having said that, I know a lot of states are asking for more power extended to the states, or at least minimizing the power from the federal government. Now, that may work if you support the policies of Governor Abbott. But what happens if Beto O'Rourke actually became governor of Texas? What do you think happens to the border then?
If Beto O'Rourke were to actually win, and he's not going to win because Texans value their liberty and they know a phony when they see it, so that's a good thing. But you can't take it for granted, and it's not going to be over until November 8th. But in answer to your question, it's going to be a very dark day because Beto O'Rourke will also look the other way. Beto O'Rourke will also play this little shuffle game where they say, like Mayorkas said it too, Bob. He said the border was secure, and then he got caught on a hot mic a few weeks later saying that it was chaos. So which one is it? Clearly, he was lying at one of those points. So they'll claim it's secure. They'll let as many people come across the border as possible. Venezuela now, there are way too many reports to ignore the fact that they're flushing their prison systems and letting their convicted felons, rapists, murderers, kidnappers, drug dealers come across the United States. That's not keeping Americans secure, and that's not putting Americans first.
All right, Congressman Pat Fallon, really appreciate your joining us. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all. God bless.
Well, Dr. Stanley Goldfarb, neuro